We were standing outside of my old Goldman offices, and I went from sitting in a cubicle there for 20 hours a day and to now running my own $35 million revenue software business, all because I decided to build my own personal brand. If you're at all feeling like you want more, you feel really stuck and you want to start your own thing, I'm gonna do everything I can today to teach you everything that I know of how to start and build your own personal brand and turn that into a successful, scalable enterprise. And I figured we would do that while going through the course of my day-to-day. First, we got invited to the YouTube headquarters, so we get to tour YouTube, talk about the future of media, the future of how you're gonna build your own brand, make your own content, pursue your own dreams. And then two, we're gonna go hang out with the godfather of personal brand himself, Gary Vaynerchuk, where Gary and I are hosting 20 of our top entrepreneurs at Stan who've made millions of dollars out of their own personal brand. And we're gonna spit a bunch of game on how do you turn your personal brand into a profitable, successful business. And then we have a full circle moment where I got invited to do an interview at the New York Stock Exchange, which is just like insane. And then lastly, we've got a really special surprise to cap off the end of the day. I can't wait to see it. I think it's gonna be a little emotional for me. So let's kick off an awesome day and get after it.
Oh, big fan. Thank you, brother.
Oh my God.
Ding, 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 ding.
Let's fucking go!
That may take therapy.
I'm kidding. I'm very grateful. So let me tell you a little bit about my story because it's actually going to allude to the first step in the playbook, where my story was a typical immigrant kid growing up in the South. I had a single mom. We didn't have much. When you're an Asian American especially, you have a lot of pressure to perform in certain ways, to conform into society in certain ways, where society tells you, hey, if you get this certain dream job, you'll like finally have made it, you'll finally be accepted, you'll finally be validated. And so I went through my journey of doing all of the right things. So I cold called my way into a job at Goldman. I got a job at a top private equity firm. I went off to Stanford Business School. I did all these things that you think will make you finally feel fulfilled and happy, to all realize that actually most of it's pretty empty. And it's actually not what's going to fill your soul and fill your life with meaning. And my journey since then has been building a business for myself that's now gotten to help over 80,000 other creative entrepreneurs also build their dreams. Point being to that is step number one in the playbook is to find your unique positioning. AKA, like, why do people actually want to fuck with you as a person and want to watch your content? The sooner you recognize those things about yourself and live in them from a place of strength and tell your story, the sooner you recognize that those things are actually what's unique about you, that other people will feel called to. Because the core premise of how you break out is to escape competition through authenticity. Let me give you a framework that's gonna help you get started, where the people with the most successful personal brands are combining two different angles. Number one, a topic that they are incredibly passionate about with their unique story. And then number two, is you need to think about what is my unique angle to that content? And that's all about really thinking back and asking yourself a couple key questions. What is my identity? What is my origin story? What are my struggles that I went through that other people who've gone through similar stories or who see themselves in you can then resonate with you and your unique story and say, this person specifically in this topic that I care about is the person that I want to follow because their values, their opinions, their perspectives are the ones that I see myself most in. The sooner that you're more secure in who you are and what you've gone through and realize that your particular peculiarities that you might have actually gotten bullied for growing up are the same ones that will help you break out. And if you can just fully, authentically be more and more yourself and truly channel that, that will create such a bright light that people who fuck with you will just feel called to you. So with that being said, we're now gonna head to the YouTube offices where the real game is now being played. We're heading down to the YouTube headquarters, and it actually made me remember a quote that Reed Hastings had back in the day, so the CEO of Netflix, where he called the future of media in YouTube a decade plus before it ever became a reality, where someone asked him if he was worried about all of his competition, so Hulu, Amazon Prime, Paramount Plus, what have you. And this was when Netflix was at its peak dominance. And he goes, no, I'm actually worried about a much larger attention game that we're all in, which is what I worry about is whether or not Netflix is competitive with things like video games and social media and YouTube specifically. And so now 10 years later, it's so clear that YouTube has now eaten the entire media industry alive, where it's now the #1 watch platform on even our home TV sets, which is insane if you think about, because that means that everyday creators like yourself or myself are out competing all of the multi-million-dollar, multi-billion-dollar Hollywood studios out there making professional content. Where yes, the top 1% of Hollywood content will continue to succeed. The realization that you need to have here is that the future of media is already here. before. And the paradigm has shifted because of platforms like YouTube and TikTok and Instagram, or even LinkedIn. You and I, with our singular phones or with a camera, have as much distribution power, if not even more distribution power than these legacy Hollywood studios and these multi-billion-dollar brands, because we are actually digitally native. We actually know how to think about content in today's world, which means that anyone out there now has the capability to go out there on their own and get distribution and build a business and a brand for themselves. And if you recognize the current state of this world, with AI increasingly building products for us where any of us can spin up anything in just 12 hours, you realize that distribution is the new differentiation. And the reason why this is even more critical in today's day and age to build a personal brand is because of AI. Because AI specifically, at this point, is making it easy and easier for anyone out there to build a product. For example, someone can now vibe code the app that you spent the last 5 years building in just a few hours. And so if you think about the implications of that, that means that differentiation is moving up the stack, where distribution is now the new differentiation. And if you think through who is most successful right now in getting distribution, it's people building their personal brands, because that is currently the best channel to cut through all of the noise. What's so cool about this day and age is that creators and founders and entrepreneurs like you and I are the new Hollywood, and we can move much faster than any of these studios can, and we can do so truly from just our phones. And the reality is that these algorithms are relatively democratized. At the end of the day, what content wins is just the best content that the most people want to watch. So the sooner you recognize your own unique positioning, your own identity, and know how to express that out there in the world, the sooner the algorithm will connect you with the millions of other people who share that sense of identity. So as we head into the YouTube office here, I'm gonna walk you through how to, first of all, find what content you should make sure that it's actually good content, and then how to consistently grow your following over the long term. We should have just walked, actually. It's so close. So now that we've seen the incredible YouTube office, now it's time to talk about how you go from cringing on being on camera, being scared to show up and having 0 followers, to having a massive audience, aka building a very successful personal brand. So the easiest way I think about hacking the growth curve of learning how to make good content and building a personal brand is to realize that every great artist out there already steals inspiration from everything else around them, aka you probably already have 2 or 3 creators that you already look up to. So for me as an example, I really love the vloggers out there. So I was inspired back in the day by the Casey Neistats and the Emma Chamberlains of the world, like always love their content. And then at the same time, really love the educational, tangible business value of folks like Alex Hormozi and Gary Vaynerchuk. So I'm gonna give you a couple frameworks that's really gonna help you bootstrap, making sure that your content is as good as possible as early as possible. Where the first framework I would give you is just ask yourself, what would the younger version of you want to see and hear? Where the most resonant content that people make oftentimes is just talking to your younger self. Let's say teaching them something that you wish you knew at the time, because what you recognize about the algorithms is that if you do that, the algorithms will actually connect you with the millions of other people who are currently going through the thing that you used to go through. And so to figure out the topics that you want to cover, it's really just writing down a list of all the things that I feel passionate about teaching other people, especially the younger version of me, and how I could help that person accelerate much faster in their life. And then you can layer that on to the second framework that will help you bootstrap your content even faster, which is working through other artists' inspiration. I bet you have at least 2 or 3 creators that you personally look up to and really enjoy their content. And the realization you should have is that every artist is some amalgamation of all of the artists that came before them and their inspiration, tied together and coupled with your unique take and inspiration on top of that. And so when you think about how I wanted to express myself as a creator and entrepreneur, it was very much so just a combination of both of those, where I get to vlog what it's like to run a startup, and then I try my best to share all of those insights with you, because then that combines like getting to go on the journey with me, while also me sharing all of the mistakes and insights that I've learned so that you can succeed even faster. And so a really tactical thing that you can do to make sure that your early videos perform as well as possible is actually just to do something that all of the top creators do, which is that they'll look at their favorite other creators' top performing posts, so they're outperformers, and they will find some way to remix that with their unique story. Then what you're doing is you're working off of a validated concept and then providing your unique flavor to it so that you have confidence that this post is likely some version of a really good post that will hit with your specific audience. And by the way, this works for every single different media platform, right? Whether it's looking at the thumbnail or title or packaging of your favorite YouTube creators' videos. And what would be my unique take on that same format? This truly extends to every platform, whether it's LinkedIn for short form text posts or it's Substack and writing your newsletter. Point being, there is a very simple formula for you to start succeeding with your content immediately, which is validated concept plus your unique personality and tastes equals to line goes up. And to build a long-term personal brand, your goal from here is just to post those initial videos and to try your best to be as unemotional as possible about how that content performs, which is really, really hard to do, by the way, when you're the human in the middle. But if you can be as objective as possible about the next 5 to 10 pieces of content that you post and observe which pieces of content actually did well, and then double down and iterate on, oh, wait, 8 out of those 10 posts that I did, because I just started, I'm not very good yet, flopped, but 2 out of the 10 actually did pretty well. I should figure out what was the pattern or insight in those videos or in those posts so that I should iterate and double down on. And basically, if you zoom out from there, the process to go from 0 followers to just getting your legs, having your first few great posts to having a long-term personal brand is just zooming out and doing that process week after week after week, where over 5 years now, it's taken me to get to this point. After years of commitment, you have this incredible asset that you've built of your reputation and the trust that comes with it. So we are now at GaryVee's office, which is pretty crazy because just 5 years ago, I was doom scrolling on my phone, not making content yet, watching GaryVee videos of him yelling at all of us to start posting content because it can radically change your life. And now 5 years later, to have Gary actually be an investor in my business, where he's helping us build a multi-billion-dollar outcome where we're helping millions of people out there build their dreams and achieve this journey that both Gary and I have gotten to go on, where we obviously have a personal brand, but then really beautiful offices, making a name for ourselves, making impact is really, really cool. And so today we are hosting some of Stan's top entrepreneurs who we did a challenge with, where the top people who made the most income in an 8-week period get to hang out with Gary and me. And for the day, we're gonna answer all of their questions. There's so many random niches you can build a personal brand in and make millions of dollars in. And I'm excited to get them to share their stories with you and also for you to listen to Gary drop some game. You know what I'm actually really worried about right now? For some reason, my hands are really sweaty right now. I don't know why, like every now and then my hands just get really sweaty.
Yeah.
And I just like don't want to dap up Gary when I have sweaty palms. Like I swear I'm not nervous. Like it sucks when you dap someone up or handshake and their hands are sweating and clammy. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh.
Imagine you do that if you took one of these.
Don't make it worse, bro. Oh my God, I'm gonna...
So John sometimes needs a soundtrack to really get hyped. So we're trying to hype him up. You know, so right now he's vibing. It's like an NBA player prior to a game, you know, ready to just fucking shoot threes and slam dunk.
I found a solution. Hand in the pocket, it dries it out.
Yeah.
Have dry hand, bro. It's a little clammy.
Get out. Sorry, John. Well, good to see you.
Question for you, Gary. If you had to start from scratch today in 2025 and build your personal brand, what would you do?
Me personally, I would rely on my improv, natural, on-camera confidence, ability, and I would do what I did, which was make a lot of content. But I would also today, the hours I spent on trying to figure out how to get followers, what content to make, and these days, how does the algorithm work? I would spend on getting good at AI tools to help me make more content. But the number one thing that I think I do that I think people continue to not do. Back in, a decade ago, I was like, make content. And most people didn't.
Yeah.
Now I say make content everywhere and most people don't.
Yeah.
They are TikTok, Instagram centric. Almost everyone watching right now is so 1 or 2 dimensional. There are people here that YouTube Shorts will be their breakthrough. I think LinkedIn is starting to get more and more obvious. Almost everyone's crippled by like, how do I break out? What's my niche?
Yes.
People need to experiment more, be more curious with their content. And they have to realize they have to be authentic, meaning it's such a cliche word, but people think they have to be an expert or a charismatic supernova.
Yeah.
I actually think most people really enjoy watching people go through their journey.
Yes.
More than people realize. So like, there's somebody right now who's watching whose breakthrough is actually them learning surfing. You surf.
Yes.
I do not.
Yes.
If I believe that if I started making a ton of content of my journey of trying to learn to surf, it'd probably be the best content I'm making currently right now. People like a good journey if it's authentic. It has to be you. And it's either what you're really into or what journey you're going through. I wish people knew how awesome the content game could be because everyone's insecure of how well they'll do, not disciplined enough to stay the course. But it starts with a strategy, just like we talked about with books. And I think they need to know what they're doing. And I think the documenting of going through is very big and still wildly underused.
You bring up the second question, which is how do I get past my fears? For anyone who's watching, how do I get out of my head past my fears and then also stay disciplined?
I think fear eliminates discipline immediately.
Yeah.
So that's why I focus so much of my content on fear. Look, I mean, this is potentially a therapy thing. Real talk. Like, depending how deep your fear is, like if you grew up with parents that every single day, everything was like, you're going to get kidnapped and the house is going to burn to the ground and we're going to run out of, like your trauma is real on fear. You've been taught to be scared.
Yes.
That may take therapy.
Ready to guess?
Yeah, so
do it.
I was posting for about 8 years and I couldn't even break 5,000 followers. But you want to know what that did? It built repetition and confidence. So I could stand in public, in an airport or anywhere, just pull out my phone and take a video and I have no shame because I have the reps. We're about to approach $3 million.
I'm so proud of you. I went from like last year literally not being able to afford baby food. I was broke. I've had 13 failed businesses. Like, I know it sounds so cliche, but failure is like the best lesson. You can completely change your life in a year, and that's what I've done with Stan as well.
I was diagnosed with something called endometriosis.
Yes.
And I was in like crippling agony all the time. And I worked so hard at uni to get first and got big jobs that I wanted, but I physically couldn't do them because I was ill all the time. So I quit my job, trained to be a women's health practitioner just to get that education for myself. My first year, oh my gosh, it must have been over 300,000, but I made it 100,000 in my first month. I feel so lucky that I found things that have helped me and I want to help other people find that.
The success that I have had is so rewarding because I get to be me.
Just you.
Here.
That's
just
sick.
like I was me there.
You're just getting paid to be yourself. That actually sounds like the dream. So now that we've spoken to some successful entrepreneurs and heard from the man GaryVee himself, I want you to recognize the larger game that you get to play if you start building your own brand. Where I think the right framework to think of this in is that there is a leverage ladder, where the first step of leverage that you unlock is content leverage. AKA, you can post a single video out there that can go immensely viral to millions of people without you needing to be in the room with any of those millions of people. And so you go from content leverage, where a single piece of content can go viral, to over time stringing together a bunch of content hits into having audience leverage, which now means you have an inbuilt audience of customers in the thousands or millions over time that you can immediately distribute to as a customer base for any sort of business that you want to run. Which therefore then opens up the ability for you to have product leverage, which in this case, what I mean by that is you want to have a product or a service that you build a business around. So whether that's a digital product or a software subscription or a membership community or a physical product that has enough scalability that it can service your entire audience. Because all of that starts to unlock the next level of the game, the next level of the ladder, where so many of these entrepreneurs today were asking questions about it, which was specifically, they're hitting the limits of their own individual capacity to drive leverage. And what I mean by that is, in today's day and world, you actually make a couple $1 million alone, which is what so many of our solopreneurs here at Stan are doing, because you have the leverage of a phone that can get you distribution to millions, and you have the leverage of code that can do an entire digital product or an entire subscription for you and deliver that for you. But at some point, you as a singular human being can only do so much. And you need to then navigate to the next level, which is transforming from just being a founder and a solopreneur to a CEO and a manager and leader of people. Because that's the next game that you play in the leverage ladder is people leverage, aka building a team that helps you scale a broader organization and a broader brand for you. And then ultimately, over time, you get to the GaryVee level, where he's built this entire 13 business enterprise with hundreds of employees doing hundreds of millions in revenue, working with the biggest names and the biggest companies out there, where Gary at this point is obviously at times using his audience to distribute a specific product. So whether that's, sharing Stan with his audience, but at the end of the day, the highest amount of leverage that Gary has for his business is just his personal brand halo, where that personal brand opens up doors or connections and really any business relationship he's looking for, and even gives the salespeople on his team an easier job getting their foot in the door into any prospect. And so as you think about the end stages of how you want to scale your personal brand with a larger enterprise, I want you to think about it in the lens of a Rihanna running Fenty Beauty or a Mr. Beast running Feastables, where they're so clearly a part of the brand, but as a much larger personality that allows their brand to cut through the noise of all the other just regular CPG businesses and have this additional layer to their brand halo that makes you have more affinity and like that product more, because it's an additional reason why you should care about that product. But to unlock all of these levels of leverage, you need to have a content system. You need to think about how do you scale all this content, which is what I get to teach you next after we go to the New York Stock Exchange for me to do an interview there. Dude, this is fucking crazy. So my first ever apartment, I used to walk by this building every single morning. I'd sprint out to work. I lived on 67 Wall Street, shitty first year apartment, typical bachelor pad. We had 4 guys in a 2-bedroom flex. I used to sprint by this every morning, so cold, and I'd see the stock exchange on my way to work at the Goldman offices. And so to be here, holy fuck, this is gonna be sick. I'm about to go in and get interviewed at the New York Stock Exchange. I'm feeling a little nervous right now, I'm not gonna lie to you. Let's do this. This is insane. This is crazy. Oh my God.
There's really nothing like
crazy.
Is that nuts?
That's crazy. This is so cool.
Welcome home.
the stock up or down.
Oh, Gang's all here too.
So
Look.
I'll manifest it.
Okay.
There's a world one day where we're listed here on the New York Stock Exchange. So
I think
I'll
it
be back
is.
for that.
I think I'll probably be here too. So
Yeah, I love it. Ready, cool. Hi, I'm John. I'm the founder of Stan, and I'm building the next billion-dollar company. And Stan matters so much right now because of all of the insecurity that's going on in the world. It is so important to give people the chance at actually succeeding in entrepreneurship and building for themselves.
I want to talk about Stan.
Yeah.
So tell me, you built this and it was very intentional, right? This is for entrepreneurs. This
Yes.
is not for influencers.
Influencers are entrepreneurs. Most of them don't recognize it. But what's really important about Stan and our mission is to empower anyone to get to make a living working for themselves. I want every kid out there, regardless of what their background is, to see someone who looks like them, who's gone through the same struggles as them, succeeding in the field of entrepreneurship. Because that's not something that I had growing up, but here at Stan, we have over 80,000 creative entrepreneurs who are building their dreams, and it's of every walk of life possible.
we are rooting for you here at NYSE. It's a pleasure chatting with you.
Yeah, maybe I'll be here one day to ring the bell.
Well, it'll be right there waiting for you.
Cool.
Ding, 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 ding.
Awesome. All right, so that was insane. And I think the metaphor to draw to the businesses that we're all building now is this is like the end-stage capitalism, the most abstract version of trading businesses. And it's a really good way for you to start to think about how I need to be building my business for the long term. I think the most successful creative entrepreneurs are the ones who realize the Jay-Z quote as early as possible, which is, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. Essentially, when you think about someone as successful as GaryVee or someone as successful as Jay-Z, who is the old age version of a creative entrepreneur, they realize that they are a media business. You need to think about yourself over time as you start to get this initial content market fit and to think about, okay, how do I scale myself as a media business over time? Where the really interesting double-edged sword of being a creative entrepreneur and having your own personal brand is that the very thing that got you your success and differentiation in the first place, which is your own humanity, also becomes your Achilles heel and bottleneck in scaling more content. So in order to do that, you need to think of yourself as a content supply chain, where if you break down the process of how to make content, there's different stages. So first there's the ideation stage, then there's the filming stage, then there's the post-production editing, and then posting stage. And basically, all of us as creatives in this process index towards being really good at a couple of those certain things, but not all of them. And so the first thing you want to do to think about how do I scale myself? How do I get more content per unit time? How do I get more leverage? You want to think about, okay, where are the places in this process that I disproportionately add value? So maybe you're a really, really good scriptwriter, but editing really, really drains you. And so then you should be thinking about, okay, so this is actually where I need to build tools, or I need to build a team, I need to hire someone maybe to help me with editing and find someone who's even better than you at that, where you can work with them to establish a brand guide, a visual guide, styling, your aesthetic, and then you can focus on what you really are a 10x at, which is coming with like the very best content idea in your particular niche, or the very best script, and really, really dialing in that process. And that mental model essentially of constantly reevaluating where you should be in the process and where you increasingly need to let go and standardize a process or a system so that other people or an AI agent or a tool that automates things can scale that with you. That's going to be how you start to get more and more content output per unit of your time, especially if you pair that with what a lot of legacy media businesses do, which is finding a repeatable format. So what I mean by that is if you think about the nightly news on ABC, they have a repeatable format of every single day. They know they're going to go in and sit at a particular desk and talk about particular topics and report on the news, which actually makes the creative process a little bit easier on you versus like every single day starting from scratch, being like completely blank canvas. What am I going to do? And so very specific examples of this are for Casey Neistat. His format is the daily vlog. For Mr. Beast, his format is crazy challenges. For Marquez Brownlee, it's tech reviews. For Alex and Layla Hormozi, it's sit down, talking head education videos. And so your job is to do so much content output that you're experimenting with different ideas, different formats. Over time, you'll see what the most repeatable formats you have are, and you should double down and keep making those formats better and better and better. And then at the same time, I want you to also take on this new mental model of what we like to call the content waterfall. And what I mean by that is if you go back to the core premise where your job in building a personal brand is to maximize the amount of content output per unit of your creative time, then you need to think about how you can make a single piece of content, but that content can actually be repurposed across a bunch of different platforms. And so the most obvious model of this is to shoot a long form YouTube video and then actually repackage that as short form specifically for TikTok or Instagram or YouTube Shorts. Point being is like, how can you extract or maximize the total value you can create with a single creative insight of yours? And there's the lens of being both a creative and an entrepreneur building a business. So at this point, you have your unique story. You know how to start making good content. You have a clear understanding of how do I turn this personal brand eventually into a massive successful enterprise. And then you figure out how to scale your content production and build yourself a media business around you. All of that being said, you can't have any of these pieces, but the last final core thing that I'm going to teach you, and I think I get to show you that through the lens of us going to go see something that's going to be really, really special to me. All right, so this is going to be really special. I can already feel my heart beating like out of my chest actually, more so than anything else today. Like everything else was like totally normal work. This could be like really special that we're about to show you. This is the manifestation of what a personal brand can do. So let's go fucking see it. I can't look, I'm blind.
Yeah, you're blind right now. All right, well, we're bringing it to a good spot. Holy shit, it's a lot bigger than I thought.
Oh my God. That's really purple in like a good way. It stands, holy fuck. Holy shit, guys. We have a fucking billboard in New York fucking City, dude. In Times fucking Square, basically. Holy fuck. Sorry, it's just fucking hitting me. This is insane. Sorry, I'm shivering on my fucking asshole right now. It's so fucking cold. But this is a physical manifestation of like years of like you start this thing and it's in your head and then it just lives in the internet webs in your head still because it's software. And then you realize looking at Joelle, who won last year, who's part of this billboard, that you're now helping almost 100,000 people pursue their dreams and you're affecting real fucking lives. And that is now manifesting, and that creates income, which then manifests as you being able to purchase something in the real fucking world that is a billboard guys, I can't even describe the words. It's insane to see your startup that is still such an abstract, tiny little concept in your head where no one fucking knows you in real fucking life. Like, this is insane. But we're on 50th and Broadway, baby. Like, we are fucking on Broadway right now. This is insane. That's gonna make me cry a little bit because that hits the gut really hard because you just like sit with how fucking hard it's been. Like, to even allow yourself to settle into this win is like, makes you want to fucking buckle because it's like, holy shit, it's been so hard. It's been so hard. It's been so hard. And now we have this fucking billboard on Broadway for a campaign where we're giving out $100,000 fucking dollars to someone to go pursue their dreams and quit their job and actually go build their thing. And it's crazy because it's just an idea in your head and then all of a sudden it's fucking real. It takes you 5 years, but you make it fucking real. I think the final point I will make to you as I just stare at this fucking purple billboard that is my fucking company technically, I can't even fathom it. Wherever you are right now, if you're deeply wanting more, if you are stuck in a job you don't fucking like anymore, if you just want to build your own thing, I want you to know that I was no different than you. Like, I was no different than anyone else who's actually gone out there and started a fucking company for themselves and tried and persisted and built their own brand. All I did at the end of the day was get past my fears, get past all the overthinking, all the shit, and just fucking take out my phone and record and take action. It's like, people spend so much time trying to learn all the knowledge, watching all these YouTube videos for all the little tactics in game, when in the reality at this point, like, action is knowledge at this point. Like, taking action is the thing that you need to do, where you have the whole playbook at this point. Like, I've given you the playbook in this video. I'm sure you've watched enough content on this in general. Like, you know the broad formula. And the only thing separating you at this point from the life you're currently living and the life you actually fucking want, that you can feel inside of your body that you want, like the drive, the passion, the desire, is just taking those steps and taking those actions and doing that for years on end, and knowing that if you do that and you persist, you will just naturally get better. Like, you're hungry enough, you're obsessed enough, like, you will think through all of it. But there's such a gap between, like, I'm sitting in my head desiring and wanting this thing and just taking steps forward. If you take steps forward, at some point, if you take enough steps forward in the real fucking world and turn your thoughts into actual physical action, somehow you have a fucking billboard on Broadway. And you'll be helping millions of people pursue their fucking dreams. And so I wish you all of the best. Truly, I could not wish this journey more for you. The entrepreneurial journey, because it is so deeply human. It forces you to face your insecurities, to get constantly rejected, to grow immensely as a person. I think it's one of the greatest forms of self-development you can go after. And through that process, I hope you build the most incredible business and life for yourself, for your family, for your loved ones, whatever that is. You have all of the tactics now to go build your personal brand, but there's this core foundation that no one ever talks about, which is just to do badass shit. Like, we're doing a fucking campaign called Dare to Dream, where if you just post a video of yourself online in your dream and what you want to do, we're gonna give someone $100,000 to pay their entire rent, mortgage, food, groceries, whatever they need for an entire year to go pursue their dream. You can't have a personal brand unless you're inherently doing interesting things, because otherwise you're not gonna cut above the noise, right? Like, the bigger the dragons you slay, the more interesting your story is, which obviously in the moment is fucking painful when you're getting wrecked and going through hard things. But unless you are truly sticking yourself out there, unless you're truly innovating, unless you're actually going through really fucking hard things and doing exceptional things, like, you will just not break out and have a memorable brand. Like, think about every single person that you look up to, aka has a strong personal brand. Steve Jobs, Michael Jordan, Serena Williams, Kobe Bryant, like, whoever that is for you, had to do exceptional things, like inhuman things to themselves, like what they survived and went through, all of the pain tolerance to do these crazy things. And so in this rush where everyone's like, oh, I need to build a personal brand, all this kind of stuff, I want you to recognize, like, the people who are going to make it, and I want that to be you, are the ones who do exceptional things. And so dare to be exceptional and dare to dream. God, I'm gonna go fucking have a drink.